Hi, thank you so very, very much for being here at Pendulum Friday at Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. I am so delighted that you people out there really, really are enjoying the Pendulum Friday videos. They're fun to do. It is amazing the questions that come forward for us, and so I very much thank you for your support. And let's get started because there is a bucket load of questions. The first couple actually pertain to Canada. So here we go. Are our own maple magas, I like that, um, here who are supporting Pierre, the guy he is the leader of the Conservative Party, going to also be defeated? Okay, now this one and the next question are really about the election, and the Canadian election. I don't think it's for like another at least 2 years. I think I'm pretty sure. I should have looked that up before I started recording. Okay, but let's just ask the questions and see. So, is the is the Conservative Party with their more and more conservative beliefs? Are they going to, given the current energies, are they likely to win the next federal election? Sorry about that. As of right now, it's a yes. There's time to change that. Yesterday, um, Justin Trudeau did an interview on Ryan Jesperson, Real Talk, here in Alberta. He was passionate and eloquent and said he would fight another election. According to Astrology A, if he does stay, he will lose. I know that you have stated that he will leave, so have the energy shifted and changed? Okay, so the first thing I want to say is, with the election still being as far out as it is, no politician is going to say, "Yeah, I'm not gonna run again," just because it puts him in sort of like that lame duck position. So let's see what happens. Although, based on the answer from the previous question, Um, if the Conservatives win, that means Justin Trudeau, if he is running, doesn't. Let's look at two questions on this. One, at this time, has Justin Trudeau decided that he will run for a third term as Prime Minister of Canada, heading the Liberal Party? Listen, this is a teeny tiny yes. It's an even teeny tinier no. What this is saying is he hasn't made a sort of set and concrete decision yet. Um, Regardless, I know somebody's going to correct my language. Regardless of um, who may or may not be leader of the Liberal Party going forward, is the conservative movement more likely than not going to win the next federal election? Okay, and that right now is a yes. We're just going to have to make sure that doesn't happen. Does Putin want Trump to be president again? That's interesting. This is a no, and it's a strong no. While Putin, what I'm hearing, that while Putin would very much like Trump to be back in office to pull back, any support to Ukraine, the Republican Party is already doing that. So for him, there isn't a huge benefit to Trump being in office. He finds him an irritant, And he 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 because the Republicans have become so Putin favorable, so Russia favorable, it's actually drawing attention to Putin that he would rather not have. He would rather everything quieted down so he could creep along and do all of his horrible, cruel, and nefarious things sort of out of the spotlight. Does Putin have proof against the former guy? That is far worse than the alleged PP tapes. Apparently he does. If so, will Putin release that info when Trump loses to Biden again in 2024? It's not moving because we're not sure if Trump's going to be around in 2024, and there's no point releasing stuff for somebody who is no longer in the picture. Can Russia really afford to put nuclear satellites into space without help? Does Russia have sort of the wherewithal to do that? Okay, no. Now, the thing that they were talking about, I guess it was last week, they weren't talking about nuclear. They were talking about some sort of a big wave satellite that would create that sort of disruption. Um, let's ask this way. Is there any satellite that Russia is working to have in their arsenal that is actually ready to go, that can be launched and be ready? Is Russia ready to put a satellite in space that will create that kind of, yeah, no. Okay. A medical report stated that Navalny died of natural causes. Is this true? Yes. Okay. So this is what they're saying. Natural causes in this situation are about the body sort of shutting down kind of on its own, right? Um, as opposed to being shot or hung or, where it's just like instantaneous. But what they're saying is his body was so diminished, it was so damaged by the things that he had survived over the last couple of years, particularly, and certainly over the last 6 or 8 months, that Putin is absolutely responsible, and what happened to Navalny should be considered murder. But when it came right down to it, the body just sort of like folded in on itself. It just couldn't sustain life anymore. There had been too much damage and abuse done to the body. And I did see that his mother apparently saw his body. So I don't know. I saw it somewhere on a news thing. Um, will his body be intact when it is released by Putin? It looks like a yes. Will his body actually be released? Yes. Is his wife safe? She has vowed, that's kind of a small no. She has vowed to carry on her husband's work. And I think she will do that. And I think over time we'll see how much she annoys Putin. And then I guess we'll know. I was thinking this morning about the Ukrainian children taken and kidnapped by Russian forces and taken to Russia. Will they be rescued? Okay, so it's a yes, but I'm hearing the word some. Some of them will be rescued. And will they be returned to their Ukrainian families? Again, the ones that are rescued, yes, will be returned to their families. They're sort of showing me that um, uh, some have not survived, and some have sort of been, I don't know, like absorbed into um, sort of like Russian families. I think if they were young enough. And so, in some ways, um, it could be very hard to find their parents, sort that out. It kind of reminds me of the situation with the border, right? You rip all these kids out of their mother's arms or out of their environment. If you don't know who the hell they are, how are you supposed to get them back to where they belong, right? Is Trump considering Kellyanne Conway for VP? That would be an interesting choice. It's getting a yes. If something happens to Trump Sr., does the Trump organization still have to pay the $355 million back to New York? I got to tell you, that's like a legal question because I don't know if any of the $355 million was actually, or what percentage of it was actually against the corporation or the organization. I think the penalties were um, against the people running the corporation, right? Because all the people charged ended up being penalized. Let's just see. If something happens to Trump, will the Trump organization have to pay the $355 million back to New York? I'm getting a yes. Will the IRS investigate Trump's tax dodging? Or will the outcome of the current court case be enough to sink him? Okay, so let's just ask the first part of that question because the IRS, if they're doing this, are not doing it so they can sink him. They're doing it because he was a tax dodger. And I'm going to ask it this way. Has the IRS started an investigation against um, any members of the Trump family with regards to their taxes? That is a yes. Um, the disclaimer for the 45 merchandise had eh, um, a disclaimer that said that first of all, they don't necessarily appear like they do online, and there will be no returns. Pre-orders with prepayment and arrival time sometimes in July and August. Pendulum question. Will this be a total ripoff for the cult members? Yes. Yes, it will. Will Melania show her face more during the elections? It's a yes. Will Barron follow his dad's footsteps? No. Will Trump lose his tower in New York? Yes. Was 45 involved in any way with the death of his first wife, Ivanka? I'm getting a no. Will Putin cover PG, TFG's former guy's $500 million problem. Is he going to contribute to solving the problem as opposed to just handing over 5 mil? Will there be money coming from Putin that will assist Trump in paying or just having the money in order to appeal? That's a yes. Is it possible that Trump could give Jared classified documents to sell? Okay, that's really scary. That's a yes. I kind of wasn't expecting that answer. If Jared were to sell them, would he then give his father-in-law a loan? Doesn't look like it. It's not moving, right? I have to say that energetically, I think Jared and Ivanka are trying to stay as far away from this guy as they possibly can. All right. Will Trump be the, the GOP nominee? Yes. Will he choose Tulsi Gabbard as his running mate? No. Will the American voters see Trump and Putin's scheme to take over the U.S. before it is too late? So I'm going to ask this. Will the average American voter? Yeah. It's almost like they're being so blatant that almost any, unless you've truly been living under a rock, you're becoming more and more aware of what's been going on. Will Putin fire Garland? No. Will Garland resign? Now, the question was, will Garland resign first? I'm getting that Garland is very likely to resign for the next term. Okay, so once Biden wins the presidency for this next term, I think at that point, Garland may very well step back. Will Nathan Wade stay on the RICO case? Right now, it's a yes. Will the team of Fonnie and Nathan successfully persuade the jury to convict Trump and the co-defendants? That is a yes. Will Judge McAfee survive the May 21st primary election? I don't understand that question. Are judges voted in? I don't understand the question, so I don't know how I'm going to phrase the question. If this was your question, please rephrase it, send it in, and we'll grab it next week. Will Matt Gaetz be required to register as a sex offender when the truth comes out? Yeah. Will he be found guilty? Let's just ask that first. Yes. Wait a minute, back up. The investigation he is currently under is with the House Republicans. So even if they find out that he did all the horrible things, it's sort of like George Santos. He'll sort of be like pushed out, sent away. So really the question is, should that happen, will a further investigation be opened up by Florida? Okay, and that's a yes. Will the names of the politicians in Washington who Putin has dirt on ever be exposed? No answer. I guess it depends on whether they play nice or not. But I have to tell you energetically, I don't believe there will ever be this like absolutely clean slate. And everybody who did something is going to be, sort of displayed and found guilty and shamed. And, you know, a, a lot of them are just going to quietly slip into the night and just go away. Will Smith be able to get Cannon replaced before the next election? Okay. Is Will Smith going to be able to get Judge Eileen Cannon removed from the Florida documents case? Yes. Will that happen in a way that that case can go forward before the next election? No response. Undetermined. Hold on. I just lost my place here. Um, does Mike Johnson have a donor that is an associate of Putin's? Yeah, that's a yes. Will we ever find out what Mark Meadows was burning in his office fireplace? Okay, so it's a small yes. And what I'm getting is yes, but in broad sweeps, right? No, it's not going to be chapter and verse of what was on the paper. It's going to be broad, like, um, so you'll kind of get an idea, but it won't be sort of itemized or documented that way. Will Fonnie Wills get appointed to the Supreme Court in the future? That's a yes. Will Comer and the other idiots face criminal charges for the Biden fiasco? No. That's because, what they're doing is within the business of the House. Um, so who's going to issue criminal charges, right? I mean, there isn't a body that's going to step in and do that. Um, did Comer and Jordan know they had false info to try to impeach Biden? Or, okay, so it looks like yes. Hold on. Did they know that it was fake? It was info from Russia that was not reliable. Okay, yes. Have they known that all along? No. Um, what they're showing me is around the time that their witness vanished and they couldn't find him anywhere. I think that seems to me, kind of when they started putting some of the pieces together. The Georgian Supreme Court ruled that oh, okay. I didn't think it was Georgia. I was sure it was Alabama. That's just talking about the frozen embryos can be considered children. Um, and so the question is, will this ruling put clinics where in vitro fertilizations are offered at risk? Yes. So next week, early in the week, there is a video coming out about that situation. I'm positive it was Alabama. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Two of those clinics have already closed down because of this new law. I recorded that video prior to doing this It's really interesting, and it's really interesting not only what the cards talked about, but also what Spirit talked about at the end. So keep your eyes open for that. And if you haven't hit the notification bell, please do. That way you'll know when my videos come out. Okay. Are the AT&T cell phone service outages due to a targeted hit by another country? That's a yes. And that's what I know. That wraps up Pendulum Friday for, where are we at? February 23rd. Thank you, as always, for being here. Keep those thumbs up in the comment coming. Feel free to share if you can. And have a good weekend. Be kind to yourself and someone else. And we'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.